welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad everyone stopped by today because today we are going to be doing another Pokemon video. Today I'm going to be doing a shiny Umbreon. The reason for doing shiny instead of regular, for one, I had blue fabric and no yellow fabric, and another, I just liked blue and I decided to go with it. So we're doing shiny. Anyways guys, let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to work on for our Umbreon is going to be the sewing. Right here is the pattern that I'm going to be using to make the body. I have the main body in the middle along with the neck. You can see that I drew out the little circles that go on the shoulders and the hips. These will get cut out a little bit later. To my left is the shape for the belly, and then up here is the tail and ears. When I get to using this for the ears, I'm just going to cut it to make it a little smaller. So I'm going to cut everything out and then I'm going to show you all the fabric pieces. Okay, right here I have the tail and the two ears. You can see to make the tail you'll need three pieces, the bottom half, the blue stripe, and then the top half. All of these are going to be hand sewn together. And then right here I have the sides of the body along with the sides of the neck. I haven't cut out the circles on the shoulders or hips yet, but I do have the pieces to go into that. So I've got these little blue donuts pretty much, and then a little black circle to go in the middle. So all of these are going to get hand sewn together. And then right here I have the belly piece along with the inside parts of the legs. This is what the tail and ears look like after sewing them all together and then lightly stuffing them. You can see it's really hard to see the blue stripe, so we will end up having to trim the fur after we put everything together. And here's how the sides of the body looks after sewing in the circles. It's really hard to see with the long fur, so like the ears, we're going to shave the sides to show them off more after the body is all put together. Now we're going to sew the back and front halves of the legs together going down the front, and then we're going to attach everything with the belly piece. Once you're to this point with the sewing, you'll need to stop and get all the clay pieces done before we can put everything together. So we're going to start on the clay now. So I'm going to start on the face. I've got a little bit of tin foil for the snout, and we're just going to cover this all in clay. The clay I'm using is Original Sculpey. Once I have everything covered in clay, I'm going to place my eyes onto the face and then start building the eyelids and other details. You'll notice that I'm going for more of a fox style for Umbreon. I know Umbreon's supposed to be more of a cat, but I kind of picture him as a fox, so for my style, I'm going to be trying to do that. If you don't like Umbreon looking like a fox for your piece, if you want, you can end up shortening and thickening up the snout to make it look more like a pet cat. Now I'm going to take a strip of clay and I'm going to lay it out where I want the mouth to go. This is going to be the upper lip. After I have it laid out, I'm going to blend it into the face. For the nose, I'm just going to be putting a lump of clay at the end of the snout and then start sculpting it with my other tools. Now to make the markings on Umbreon's forehead, I'm going to be using a few gems that I have lying around to help make sure that I have it nice and even, so I'm going to push those into the clay, pull them out, and then sculpt more details into it. Once you have the basic shape and all of these details done, you can start working on adding fur to the piece. So I'm just going to be using one of my tools and scratching into the clay to make it look like fur. For the shorter fur, I have another tool that's kind of like a pipe cleaner, and I'm going to be using this by pushing it into the clay to make it look a little fluffier. Now moving on to the feet for Umbreon, I'm going to be doing them like I do a lot of my feet. I'm going to be building up the paw pads first, and then we're going to make those in the oven. After that, we can start working on the tops of the feet. When doing the tops of the feet, make sure you leave an opening for the wiring to go later after you put everything together. So make sure you push a nice opening into the top of the foot. For the feet, you really don't need to add any fur detail. If you want to, you can, but I don't really feel it's necessary, so I'm just going to leave them nice and smooth. So we're going to put everything in the oven at 275 Fahrenheit for roughly about 55 minutes. After all of your clay is out of the oven and has cooled to touch, you can start working on the painting. For Umbreon, since he's pretty much all black, I'm going to cover all my clay pieces with a nice primer of black. After the black has dried, we can start going over everything with a little bit of gray and lighter highlights. I'm then going to take some blue and then we're going to start painting the markings on Umbreon's forehead. And for Umbreon's eyes, I've seen them done two different ways. For the shiny Umbreon, I see them done as the original red, and then I also see them done as the original yellow. But I believe the yellow is the actual color that the shiny eyes are supposed to be. If I'm wrong, just paint yours red. Anyways, I'm going to do a nice coating of yellow and start blending it into the eye, and then we can start painting on the other details. Now moving on to the feet, I'm going to be painting Umbreon's paw pads a blue to go with the other colors that I'm using. If you don't like this color on him and you think another color would be more appropriate, you could do a pink or really whatever you want. I'm just doing this because it felt nice. After that, I'm just going to paint the toenails a nice solid black, and then we're going to let everything dry. Now after all of my clay is finished, I'm going to go over everything with a resin, but if you don't want to, you can use a varnish or a spray-on sealant to help protect the paint. Now that our clay pieces are all finished, we can start moving on to putting everything together. So I'm going to start on the wire frame. The wire frame is pretty simple. You'll mainly need 3 pieces of wire for the body. To cut the wire for the frame, you'll want to take 2 measurements. For the spine, you'll want to measure from where the head will be all the way down the spine to the tip of the tail. You'll end up bending that wire to the shape that you'll need for the body. For the next measurement, you'll measure from the tip of the front foot up the shoulder blade, down the spine, and then down the back foot. You'll need 2 pieces for this measurement. After everything is bent into the shape that you want, you're going to take a thinner wire and go over everything and connect it. After I have everything wrapped together, I'm going to apply a little bit of glue over everything so that it kind of helps protect it all and keeps it locked together. Now we can start putting our fabric over the wire frame. So I'm going to attach the tail first, and then I'm going to move on to pushing the wire frame through the legs of the fabric body that we have sewn, and then gluing the clay feet to the ends of the wire. After you have your clay feet glued onto the ends of the wire, you'll take the fabric of the legs and you'll glue it around the base of the foot. You'll then need to take your needle and thread and start sewing up the legs and closing it. Make sure to stuff them as you go so you don't get any lumps. So I'm going to do this to the front feet, and then I'm going to move on to doing the same thing to the back feet. Once the legs are all finished, we can move on to attaching the head. So I'm going to apply a lot of glue to the back of the head, and then I'm going to press the wire into place. Make sure to hold it until it's cooled to touch. After that, you can start gluing the fabric for the neck around the head. Now to add the ears, because I want them to stand up, I'm going to be giving them wire as well. So I took a measurement of the 2 ears put together, and I made 1 strip of wire. I'm going to glue those on, and then I'm going to push the wire through this little piece of fabric that I'm going to glue onto the top of the head. And then I'm going to sew everything together. The last thing you'll need to do is to trim your fur so you can see all the different details and to get the body shape correct. Okay guys, and here is our shiny Umbreon. I think it came out really good. I love the blue against the black fur. It kind of looks like it's glowing even though it's not, and I really like that effect. Anyways guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If so, leave me a like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!